Been working all week in Texas, but finally got to work on the truck. Just wanted to show some progress. I tacked the mounts on. See there? Just for now, I'm gonna have to raise it up so I can do full welds around the whole thing. I put the front support on, and you can remember from the old videos, I only had a 1/2 inch or so clearance. Now I got 3.5 inches, so pushed it 3 inches back, which is an inch further than what I thought. Looks like the exhaust from the turbo clears pretty good on the shock tower, and both of the transmission crossmen were up too. Got the pieces fitted, both sides. This side's a little bit more of a gap. Welder. Just finished welding, and I will say I went and bought some new wire at Harbor Freight, and I cannot complain. This is a Harbor Freight welding helmet for like 35 bucks, and it is pretty good. Works really well. I had the wire speed up a little too high up here, but after I got it figured out, it laid really nice. I went ahead and just spot welded this side because the gap was a little bit bigger, but lays some good welds. I like it. Got my cardboard pattern here, and it does fit, but it's just hard to get it to fit right just sitting here. But went ahead and already cut it out. It's a big piece of metal that's pretty thick. I'll have to bend it 3 different ways, so hopefully I can get it done, but we'll see what happens here. It took me a lot of pounding to get this metal beat in there, and it wasn't the best fitment. It had a big gap here and here, and I had to fill it in, but it fits pretty good. It'll cover with some paint, but I'll wait for that to cool off, and I'm going to drop this motor in tonight after I get this painted with some spray paint. And no more A-frame supporting it. What's that above it? Nothing! Is in. Stuffed. Got plenty of clearance. Same with the back. Looking good. Clearance there. You know, we have clearance in the front. Everything looks good. Still looks like a mess, but it's a lot further along than I was. So now we need to start working on the body. And I think I'm going to try to take this body off next weekend, or this weekend. And see if we can at least start fitting it onto the frame. It's going to be exciting. Stay tuned. So I've been working all day, for the most part, on some arbors for wedding coming up. Got that one and this one, which is a giant picture frame. So I'm just now getting back on the truck. Hopefully I can get this floorboard kind of where I want it, and I'm gonna start knocking off some major pieces. I don't think I need this. Actually, I know I'm not going to use this. And then the running boards, I don't need them, but I need to measure the width of the other truck just so I know. I'm going to try to keep as much of this floorboard as possible. So I think this truck's wider, so I think it's going to have to be somewhere in here. But yeah, notch out the So I keep noticing wasp going into this area right over here on the back quarter panel or the rocker panel side where it's rusty. And every few weeks or so I spray some lighter fluid and basically make a flamethrower, which is probably not the safest thing, but usually get like 4 or 5 hornets. But man, was there a slug of them this time. So I'm glad I didn't start lifting this body up, only to get stung about by 50 wasps or so. Yeah. So I just went ahead and, without cutting anything off, tried to set the body or the floorboard back where it was, and it's within a 1/2 inch of where it was. And the clearance, I'm very surprised, is actually clear, except for there's a little bolt sticking out of the firewall right there that's actually hitting the valve cover. So if I wanted to run it without insulation, I guess I probably could, but this gives me a better idea of where I need to cut out. And I don't think I need to cut out any of the transmission. I'll probably make this a little bigger and makeshift the boot later, but I couldn't quite get it on today. Ran out of time. There's always tomorrow. I went ahead and really rough cut out the hole 3 inches bigger. I'm gonna end up probably cutting this in a square and then added 3 inches section here just to shift this back. And I cut a crude opening where I think I can easily shove the firewall back 3 inches as well, but just for clearance wise. I'm just going to do a quick fitment tomorrow and see where it rests, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to start cutting this up soon. I got 15 days until the car show in Lawrence, and that's what I was hoping for, so I'm going to have to boogie. We'll see. Anyone need a cowl piece for a 97 Dodge? Because I don't need it anymore. Body is sitting where it should be. I got pretty good clearance. I just left this little, it's actually an AC mount, but it's got about a 1/4 inch to the valve cover. So that'll need to come off. I'm probably going to put something else in there anyway, but I was just wanting to see if it will work. Moving on to the yellow Dodge. I went ahead and sprayed some more ether in there, the wasp place, and found about 10 more. I'm getting this cleaned out and throwing it all in the back. I'm going to take the dash out and the doors off, and we're going to start trying to plan for the body removal so we can start fitting it. Dash is out. The current state of the truck. Got the fenders off, the dash out. I went ahead and pulled this door off. I was in the process of pulling the doors off, but didn't quite get them all off of there. These back doors, they use Phillips screw heads instead of normal bolt heads or socket heads. And I tried drilling it out and using a removal tool. Didn't work, so I think I'm going to have to weld a nut on each of them and see if I can get them out that way. But both rear doors are like that. And then got the dash and heater removed. So I'll need to remove this piece because the new truck has it, and start figuring out what to do from now. But I bought some steel to brace. Good golly, Miss Molly. It is all in. She fits. Tight space. So didn't update anything last night, but did get some work done on it. Got the firewall cleaned off with all the brake components and different items that were on it. Got it cleaned off and started putting the endoskeleton in here, getting it braced up. I ran out of metal, but I think it's sufficient enough to do the job I'm wanting it to do. And then I got this pedal assembly off of here, and it was spot welded on multiple places. I tried drilling it out, and it was a little tougher than I thought. Spot welded underneath here too, but it came off finally. So this section I'm wanting to save, and this is where I'll start trimming it off. But that top section is basically the same as this kind of section, and I'm gonna have to morph this mount into that existing firewall piece on the old truck, because I'm gonna use this whole pedal assembly, and I need this mount to be in that truck but solid, so it'll be welded somehow up through here. So that's the next step, to figure all that stuff out. And I'm going to cut the body out, the floorboard out tonight. So we'll see how it goes. The floorboard is out. And I just realized I'm in over my head. So please someone come help me. Yeah. So we'll see if we can fit this sucker on there. I have the fenders on there, and the firewall on the new truck is pretty much where it should be. So it's just a matter of figuring out what I need to save and what I need to get rid of. I'm going to try to save the inner fender well on the old truck as much as possible, or else I'm going to have to remove these fender brackets and just cut them off here and mount them on the new truck firewall. So we'll see which way I go, but it's go time. I'm going to start whacking up this existing cowl on the new truck, just so I can kind of shave it back to get to the firewall and this inner structure here. And then I'm got it. I wish I had a laser of some sort, but I've gridded out. I haven't finished it yet, but I got grid lines. Heck, I can even see it now. Oh yeah, there we go. At foot marks, so I can base it off the firewall and back, and base it off the center line of the truck, and start measuring to fit this body. Radiator support needs to be tilted back a little bit, and the back fender needs to drop down, but it's right on the money as far as that firewall. And once I get it all cut loose, it'll give me a little bit of play. But that's why I think I'm going to keep as much as the original side pieces of the old truck as possible, and just blend in the new firewall somewhere here, and keep the floor here on the new truck, because mine's all gone. But the reason I'm using the floorboard too is because it's 2 inches lower and gives me a little bit more headroom, so, and more modern. These crew cab Dodges were literally made from cutting the back end of a regular cab and extending it. And you can see here, this is the inner step, but they just cut it and welded a piece of boxed sheet metal spanning the gap, and then another piece of angle iron here. So it's really crude the way it was made, but it works. So I'm going to take this piece off and come in here on this metal and probably go an inch past what I need to make it fit in between here and here, and then bend the tab in over about an inch so I can just slide it right up in here. And it'll be, like I said, 2 inches lower, so all this will be gone. The inner structure here on the behind the front door is crudely welded together as well, but this will all have to drop, so that needs to come out. It's just about kind of cutting what you need gone and piecing it back together. Starting to mark the 1 inch past where I need to go. You can see my mark there where it needs to go, and then the line there. And it pretty much is right on the edge. Following it back, it'll be close. So I'll probably just take a cutoff wheel and I push this back and we'll cut all that off. But for the back, I think it's really close to fitting on the back side of that truck. So I'm going to try to save that lip, and I'm separating it with a chisel because it's just spot welded. So I'm just driving the chisel along here and separating that metal out, and we'll see if I need to cut it off or not, but hopefully I can save that flange and just tack it right back up. So I was going to cut it, but then I realized I thought this flange actually was part of the floorboard, but it goes clear down. Actually goes past this, and it had spot welds all the way along here. And so I drilled them out, and I'm just gonna start drilling out spot welds and save as much of the floorboard as I can. Then I'll end up with like a 3 to 4 inch piece that I can fold down and tack to the bottom of this rail. It'd be a lot sturdier and I think easier to bend the floorboard without warping. So we're going that method. Might take a lot longer, but this piece already came off with 3 spot welds drilled out, and I got the back piece off already, so we'll do the same. Woo! The cowl is off, and these spot welds popped off, and I drilled all these, and the whole side just pulled right off. So I'll go ahead and probably just go ahead and cut it right here. Well, cut it right here probably where I pulled it off, but I'll probably pound this back over and re-drill all those and save as much as possible. And then it's on to the other rocker, and then we'll be ready to start fitting it up. Whew, I'm hot. We got one side off. I went ahead and cut it along there, and this is where the body supports to the chassis. So I had to knock that off before I could pull it loose. But so these are going to have to be cut back, and I'll flay them out just like what they did factory, but about 3 inches further in. But it's a nice clean edge to start with, so I'm pretty happy with it. Now to move on to the next side, gotta start drilling it out. I'll probably just drill them out tonight and call it quits, 'cause that's a lot of work anyway.
Where you at?